These are numbers that matter. This is a 2011 report by the Annie E. Casey Foundation. It discovers something that many in the family nonprofit sector already suspected. The pipeline to poverty begins in early childhood. Many of us were likely told a story around poverty that goes something like this: work hard in high school so you can get into college, earn a degree, and get a good job. And thus, with this advice, we could climb the socioeconomic ladder and avoid poverty. This framework for avoiding poverty has a very key decision point starting here. And whether or not a student graduates high school depends on whether or not they worked hard. But there are implicit assumptions here around high schoolers being young adults and responsible for their own educational outcomes. If they fail to graduate, then it's their fault, as they enter a pipeline to fewer job opportunities, less economic success, and greater chances of poverty. What the report by Annie E. Casey found was a more complex view of this pipeline, one that began much earlier. It found a leading indicator of success in high school was actually third grade reading proficiency. A student not reading proficiently by the third grade was 4 times more likely to fail to graduate on time from high school if they graduated at all. Of the students who were reading proficiently by the third grade, only 1 in 25 would fail to graduate on time. For students who were not reading on grade level, that number was 1 in 6. Now think about what this data tells us in the context of the framework on poverty I mentioned earlier. When the framework gave a key decision point to avoiding the pipeline to poverty as high school, the solutions many think of center around incentivizing students to work harder through talk of scholarships or free college. But does this framework still make sense when the key decision point is earlier? Does this data suggest we need to incentivize 6 and 7-year-olds to work harder so they can learn to read on grade level by age 8? And if a child is not reading on grade level by age 8, is it still his or her fault? The frameworks and stories we tell around poverty are important because these frameworks change the solutions we are able to see. And that's why these are numbers that matter.